Bruce Levell is the co-founder and executive director of the National Diversity Coalition. He also previously advised former President Trump. He joins us now to discuss how Democrats have really branded, and it's all about marketing and branding, isn't it? Republicans, conservatives, they're the big bad guys, they're the bigots, etc., for decades now. But now they're getting an assist from big tech, and I really think that it's coming at a time when Democrats need it the most. Bruce, welcome. It's good to see you, and I appreciated your piece in the Washington Examiner on this issue, particularly as it relates to tech.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Well, it's like the op-ed says. I wrote one earlier about the voting generational curse for Black America before I wrote this one. So I still have some more stories coming, so stay tuned. Writing some more, actually. Little history here, but, just give you the basis of it. Like it says in this particular op-ed that I wrote, starting back with LBJ, when there was this time in America where, my dad and granddad and parents were mainly Republicans, but this is where the shift started, right here with LBJ, when he, pushed the Civil Rights Bill. And his quote in there, if you watch the op-ed, read the op-ed, it says, these Negroes, quote, are getting very uppity, and basically says we have to give them something. And to summarize it even more, we're going to give them this so we can basically have, should I say, the control. The sad part about this is the Democrat Party never really cared about the suffering like my parents and grandparents went through. I'm in the South here in Atlanta, who were in the civil rights movement, and you can come down and look at our museums here, and you'll see a lot of them marching in stride to fight to get to the polls without intimidation and, people trying to assault you. And now here we are again, fast forwarding when, Black Americans choose not to follow that same, as I call it, the dog whistle on the Democrat Party and choose the Republican side. Then now you see the armament of what big tech as well as mainstream media has pretty much created an onslaught to make sure they keep, quote, that voting bloc encapsulated away from the Republican Party.
Yeah, it's a good point. We're talking to Bruce Levell, editorialist, columnist, and advocate as well. This, I was thinking back to, and actually just a little bit ago, I was looking at just some of the data from 2016 and 2020. And out of all of, these Republican candidates in years past that have ran, no one really, I think, since the 60s, since Nixon, actually scored as much of whether it was Hispanic vote and vote of Black Americans as Trump did. And he built on what he had in 2016. And that's when I really started to see this push with this assist from big tech and social media platforms in perpetuating this narrative that you're talking about as well, that it seemed really, really amped up. Talk a little bit about that, because really the Democrat Party got a huge assist from big tech at the time when it really needed it the most, when its message was not resonating with so many groups in America.
Yeah, let me put it in this perspective. So for 2015, when I co-founded the Diversity Coalition, we're the largest diversity coalition in the history of the Republican candidate. And when I was doing a lot of hits on CNN, MSNBC, ABC News, CBS, et cetera, during 2015 and 16, I don't really think that they believed that President Trump was going to win. So a lot of guys like me and several, should I say, Black surrogates for Donald Trump were invited to come on their networks. Now, as we forward that up into 2019, they cut us off right around November of 2019 when President Trump came down to Atlanta and presented the Platinum Plan, which was about $500 billion worth of resources and infrastructure towards minority communities. So where I'm going with this, Dana, is the fact that they shut us off because we were starting to be effective. Now, you saw in 2020, Trump got 13% of Black vote, 40+% of Latino vote, highest turnout, as you said earlier in the segment, in the history since Nixon and even back to Lincoln. So wow. We knew our message was resonating based on our new opportunity in building business, building Black generational wealth. Like myself and many of my colleagues that look like me who are, very wealthy here in the South and all over the country. It's just that they never wanted to entertain us pushing that message, say, hey, like the president says, look at your roads, look at your schools. Why do you keep voting the same way? Hey, what the heck do you have to lose? Let's try something different. So this message was really being pushed out through the Twitter and Instagram and all types of social media. We were being effective. We knew we were being so effective that I predicted we'd be in the 20+ percentile on bringing black votes to 2020. And so the reason why we didn't get as which I know we could have gained more, is because what this whole segment, this conversation is about with me and you, Dana, is how big tech and historically Democrat Party has weaponized Life magazine, Time magazine, all these other type of liberal outlets before the digital age came about. They've been doing this. So now with the new nanosecond information, look, fake news can travel just as fast as real news, unfortunately. So it's a blessing and a curse in retrospect. So, this is one of their, once again, a way to try to keep the audience captured. And for an example, me and a few other high-level Black Trump appointees, we've never been invited back on to any of the mainstream media networks, because they know if you let me talk like this and start talking about, just a general conversation about, you've done it this way for so long. I can give you the historical data on the Clinton crime bill, which Biden co-authored and bragged about. I can go on and say, okay, look, what about try something different? That's a great sell. So, essentially, no, we don't want that, because we want to control the base. So this is what this is going on. Very long-winded, because there's a lot more to this. So,
but it's a great perspective, though, and that's Bruce. That's why I appreciate you and so many others just really diving deep into this.